Ethiopia is a country that seems to live by its own rules, as if it exists in a parallel universe where all norms and concepts are arranged differently. Imagine that in this remarkable corner of the world, the calendar is 8 years behind ours. Yes, exactly. And this is not just a coincidence or a misunderstanding, but part of a unique worldview developed over centuries. In this country, time flows according to its own laws, and this is just the tip of the iceberg of the unusual features that make Ethiopia truly special. Here live peoples for whom clothing is not only a way to cover the body, but also a vital cultural and spiritual expression. In their view, traditions hold a much more significant place than any fashion trends or modern fads, which, admitted, seems quite unusual for those accustomed to a rapidly changing world. In this country, where each generation carefully preserves its customs, clothing and rituals remain untouched, and their value surpasses any fleeting fashion whims. And yet, this is only a small part of what makes Ethiopia genuinely unique. This country is the homeland of the famous coffee, a beverage that has conquered the entire world. But if you think that here you will be offered familiar coffee cups in modern coffee shops, you are mistaken. In Ethiopia, the preparation and consumption of coffee is a whole ritual filled with symbolism and deep traditions. This ceremony can radically change your perception of the culture of the drink, as it involves not just the brewing process, but an entire rite imbued with meaning and history. And if you believe this is just an exotic feature, remember, one of the oldest Christian states in the world is located here. Orthodoxy in Ethiopia is not just a religion, it is a life philosophy that permeates every aspect of their culture, everyday life, and worldview. It is an essential part of their identity, carefully preserved and passed down from generation to generation. Therefore, if you think you know everything about Ethiopia, perhaps it's time to reconsider your assumptions and broaden your knowledge. This country is full of vivid contrasts and astonishing paradoxes that make you see the world from a different perspective and understand it more deeply. The first important fact is the antiquity and uniqueness of Ethiopia. While most African countries underwent changes caused by time and external influences, this land remained true to its heritage. Ethiopia is not just one of the countries on the African map. It is a real treasure trove of history, where every stone holds the memory of distant ancestors and their eras. It is one of the few countries that managed to avoid complete domination by European colonization, and this became a pivotal moment that shaped its unique culture and way of life. Its landscape preserves ancient Christian churches carved directly into the rocks, resembling natural monuments integrated into the surrounding terrain. While neighboring countries experienced eras of colonial oppression and cultural changes, Ethiopia proudly preserved its traditions, language, and customs as if relying on its historical inviolability. One can imagine this as a world where everyone drinks tequila, and in front of you is a person with a cup of traditional Ethiopian coffee, ready to share an ancient ritual that has remained unchanged for centuries. Pay special attention to the geography of this country. Its mountainous terrain and vast plateaus create unique living conditions that not only delight the eye with their beauty, but also serve as a reliable shield against external influences. Ethiopia is not just exotic, it is a living history that constantly breathes and reminds us how strongly the environment can shape the culture and way of life of a people. Another important fact is the Ethiopian concept of time. If you thought that the concept of time is universal and understood the same way worldwide, then Ethiopia is a country where each new day begins not at midnight, as is common in many parts of the world, but at sunrise. This fact surprises and even confuses those accustomed to a familiar rhythm of life, since in many places the day often begins almost at midnight or early in the morning, but here everything is different. When you wake up and habitually think that it is around 9 in the morning, it may actually be 3 or 4 in the afternoon on local clocks. Such a discrepancy in time can baffle even the most experienced travelers, as it requires rethinking conventional notions of hours and calendars. Imagine being scheduled for a tour at 10 in the morning, but according to local time, it is already late afternoon or even closer to evening. This is the peculiarity. In most countries, time is a strict and unchanging order to which all processes and routines are subordinate. In Ethiopia, however, the situation is radically different. Time is not an absolute but rather a flexible tool, like an elastic band capable of stretching and contracting depending on mood and circumstances. This is not just a cultural feature, but an important part of the national philosophy, reflected in everyday life and people's behavior. Here, the value is placed not on hours and minutes, but on moments that are significant in the context of communication, traditions, and customs. This approach prompts us to reflect and reconsider our own life rhythm, as we are often too fixated on precision and schedules. The second feature is the coffee culture, which in Ethiopia is not just about a beverage, but a whole ritual, akin to true art. If you are used to considering coffee merely as a means of quick awakening in the morning, then in this country, you will have to see it completely differently. In Ethiopia, coffee is not just a drink, but a full ceremony, an alchemy where each step has special meaning and spiritual significance. Everything begins with roasting fresh coffee beans over an open flame, and their aroma filling the house has the power to enchant and evoke a state of delight, making one forget all external smells and worries. This process takes about 40 minutes, unhurried, attentive, and patient. This period is not a waste of time, but an opportunity for communication, sharing smiles and stories. For it is in such moments that warmth and mutual understanding are born. After roasting, the beans are ground in mortars, and the real magic begins. Coffee is brewed in a special vessel, often decorated with patterns, with the addition of spices or sugar, giving the drink a unique flavor and aroma. When everything is ready, this magical beverage is served in small cups, and it becomes more than just a drink. It turns into a ritual that unites people. In Ethiopia, coffee is more than a way to boost energy. It is a means of establishing connection, feeling unity, and sharing joy and warmth with loved ones. This process can stretch for hours, especially when family or friends gather, sharing stories, laughing, enjoying the moment, creating an atmosphere of harmony and trust. Therefore, if you truly want to understand the essence of Ethiopia, do not limit yourself to simply ordering coffee at a cafe. Instead, observe the entire ceremony, feel every movement and every breath. It's worth it, for within it lies the soul of the people. The third fact revealing the country's uniqueness is orthodoxy, which manifests here in a vivid, rich, and distinctive form. In Ethiopia, faith is not just present, it lives, breathes, and becomes part of everyday life for every individual. Here, orthodoxy is not only a religious affiliation, but transforms into a cultural phenomenon, an essential part of national identity. Imagine the city of Lalibela, not just a settlement on the map, but a true treasure of ancient Christianity, where ancient churches seem carved out of rock, as if nature itself decided to embed its spiritual history in stone. These grand structures, built in the 19th century, astonish with their magnitude. Visiting sacred sites and participating in religious services and rituals, a person is not merely a spectator of ancient and mighty traditions, but seems to become an active participant in a history rooted deep in the ancient past. It is not just a religion, nor merely a set of rituals and beliefs. It is an entire universe, rich with symbols and meanings, where every stone, every sound, and every word carries its own special weight and significance. In these places, faith takes forms that often differ radically from our usual perceptions and awakens in people a desire to understand and feel their depth. If you sincerely wish to see how faith can take entirely different, unexpected expressions, then Lalibela is exactly the place you must visit. Here you will have a unique opportunity to immerse yourself in a culture where religious traditions intertwine with ancient history, creating a distinctive cultural cocktail. Now let's turn to another side of this amazing country, into its deep, little-known corners. Imagine that in some Ethiopian tribes, there exists an unusual and very ancient tradition. The inhabitants of these tribes insert large discs into their lower lips, which serve not only as a decorative element, but also as an important social symbol. And it's not just decoration. The larger the disc, the higher the status of the wearer in society. This serves as a kind of visual indicator of social position, signaling to others a person's rank within the hierarchy. It may sound wild and unusual to our ears, But it's essential to understand that behind this lies a whole system of cultural values and traditions. And believe me, this is only the tip of the iceberg. In the Omo Valley tribes, such as the Suri and Mursi, decoration is not limited to adornments alone. Their traditions are often harsh and require displays of courage and strength. For example, these communities conduct bloody and brutal combat rituals where men face off in duels to demonstrate their physical strength, bravery, and inner resilience. These fights are not just entertainment or competitions, but a real test of endurance, a challenge that determines honor, status, and respect within their community. These customs are deeply rooted, with each battle serving as an act of loyalty to tradition and a way to prove belonging to a strong and masculine segment of society. And what other traditions live in these tribes? For instance, the Mursi decorate their bodies with bright patterns, applying plant dyes to their skin to create unique artistic compositions. These patterns are not merely ornaments, but carriers of information, symbols that tell personal stories, status, or ritual significance. Such tribes, living in harsh natural conditions, where every day is a struggle for survival, reflect in their customs a brutal and continuous contact with nature. There is no room for weakness or faint-heartedness in their traditions. Everything is built on resilience, strength, and the ability to adapt to the severe environment. Forget about the customs and traditions you know from other countries and cultures. In Ethiopia, everything happens differently. This country is not just a place for tourist photos and beautiful stories. It is a genuine cultural treasure trove, where every aspect of life, every tradition and custom holds deep meaning and significance. Here, travel is not just a walk through exotic sights, but a true encounter with an authentic, integral part of African culture that does not tolerate superficial observation. If you want to understand how real Africa lives, feel its breath and spirit, be sure to visit the Omo Valley. Part 5 of 11. Prepare to have your stereotypes and habitual views shattered, and your perception of the world completely reevaluated. Now let's talk about the monasteries of Ethiopia, special strongholds of spiritual life that can be considered true kingdoms of men, where according to ancient traditions, women are forbidden entry. This is not just a manifestation, it is a genuine cultural collision that questions conventional ideas of equality and freedom, prompting deep reflection on the nature of human values and liberties. In this context, the musical world of this ancient country occupies a special place. If you previously believed that Ethiopia was filled only with silence, prayer, and a spiritual atmosphere, you will now have to change your opinion. Ethiopian music is a unique and vibrant cultural phenomenon capable of astonishing and touching every listener to the core. It is not merely a collection of random melodies or sounds forming some musical tapestry. On the contrary, this music is a whole system of scales, unique to this land, sounding entirely different from anything you have heard before. At the heart of this rich musical universe is a genre known as Asmar, a kind of fiery stream where improvisations intertwine with social satire and profound reflections. Imagine musicians taking their instruments and beginning to tell vivid stories about life, love, and politics, using unusual rhythms and tonal nuances. For them, this is not just entertainment, but a powerful tool for discussing important and relevant topics, capable of touching the hearts of listeners. Just as an artist creates a painting that conveys mood and feelings, Ethiopian musicians paint soundscapes where each chord is an expression of emotions, moods, and inner worlds. As a result, listening to Asmar, you don't just hear music, you immerse yourself in a special atmosphere where each note is a cry for justice, and sometimes even laughter at the absurdity of life. Such performances inevitably attract large audiences and listeners because they are not just musical acts. They are living stories passed down from generation to generation, preserving the spirit of the people, their traditions, and wisdom. If you ever find yourself in Ethiopia, be sure to seek out the opportunity to hear Asmar live. This experience is truly unique and will leave an unforgettable impression on your soul. Now let's turn to another aspect of this ancient country's culture, its culinary traditions. Unlike many other nations where cuisine is saturated with familiar dishes and standard techniques, Ethiopia's approach is different and deserves special attention. The first thing that immediately catches the eye is injera, a sour pancake that essentially replaces bread. It resembles a large, porous, slightly spongy sponge, and it is not just placed on the table as a separate dish, but serves both as a plate and a utensil simultaneously. Ethiopians do not cut bread into pieces as many other peoples do to make sandwiches. Instead, they use injera to pick up sauces, meat dishes, and other treats. It can be said that in this culture, food and dishes blend together, transforming the meal into a unified whole. The food itself is served in a large shared platter, symbolizing unity and community. During family or friendly feasts, everyone sits around a round table, and each person, true to Ethiopian tradition, eats with their hands from the same plate, sharing aromas and flavors with those around them. Imagine this scene. You sit surrounded by loved ones and friends, each tearing off a piece of injera to enjoy a portion of spicy dorawat, a hot chicken dish with egg, which is one of the main delicacies. This is not just a meal, it's a real ritual, during which food becomes a means of communication, an expression of friendship, and a symbol of unity. If you are not ready to get your hands dirty, to give up familiar utensils, and to become accustomed to a closer contact with food, perhaps this country is not entirely to your liking. But if you want to truly feel the spirit of the local culture and immerse yourself in its atmosphere, you will have to set aside your prejudices and fully surrender to this unusual gastronomic tradition. It is important to remember that in Ethiopia, unlike the familiar calendar dates that often serve merely as arbitrary points in time, residents of some regions rely on deeper and more meaningful events or natural phenomena significant to their culture. For them, the focus is not on numerical indicators, but on those events that left a vivid mark on history or nature, and they use these as starting points for measuring time. Imagine such an approach. A person celebrates their birthday not by the date on the calendar, but on the day when the most important agricultural work was completed, or when the long-awaited rain fell for the first time after many months, marking the beginning of a new life or a fertile period. In this context, one can envision an Ethiopian proudly saying, "I was born in the year when the new bridge was built," or "the year when the heaviest rain in many years fell." For them, each year takes on special significance, becoming more than just another cycle. It turns into a kind of history, a personal and collective chronicle, where each individual is an integral part of a larger mosaic, with every fragment connected to the overall context and historical events. This approach to time is not just an interesting fact, but a reflection of a unique philosophy of life, based on respect for natural rhythms and historical happenings. Living in harmony with the surrounding world, Ethiopians understand that time is not only the hands on a clock moving along a familiar scale, but a sequence of events shaping their existence and destiny. Every significant event, whether a harvest, a natural phenomenon, or a family celebration, becomes a point of reference that gives meaning to each new year. If you are fortunate enough to visit Ethiopian villages, do not be surprised when they ask about your birthday, and you hear responses like, "The year the neighbor bought a cow," or "The year there was a heavy rain." For the locals, it is not the number of years lived that matters, but rather the events that fill their lives with meaning. In this culture, there is a special attitude towards time. They prefer to associate their lives with real events rather than with lifeless numbers, which seem foreign and insignificant to them. Another curious aspect that may surprise anyone familiarizing themselves with Ethiopian traditions is their wedding customs. In some villages, a marriage, yen, that is, a wedding, is not just a personal event between two lovers, but rather a family or even community affair. In this process, parents play a leading role and often organize the celebration without prior consent from the young couple. Typically, the young people are merely notified about the upcoming ceremony, and the celebration itself becomes something more than just a romantic union. It resembles a business deal where mutual consent is crucial and parental involvement is an integral part of the process. Interestingly, sometimes the groom may abduct the bride, and this is also considered part of the tradition. However, unlike the romantic story associated with a romantic gesture in our culture, such abductions in Ethiopian tradition are prearranged and approved by both families, regarded as normal and even as a ritual. Everything happens by mutual agreement, ultimately serving as confirmation of both parties' consent to the marriage. In wedding ceremonies, the emphasis is not on material expenses, but on observing ancient rites and rituals. These usually include special dances, singing, and the exchange of gifts between families, which lend the event a special solemnity and spiritual significance. For Ethiopians, the main meaning of a wedding is not to showcase wealth or luxury, but to strengthen family bonds and preserve cultural traditions. Therefore, instead of competing over the amount spent or organizing fireworks and grand festivities, they focus on true values, spiritual and familial. The night under the open sky, when the surroundings are illuminated by the bright red glow of molten lava, remains in memory as a truly unforgettable and exhilarating event. It seems as if the entire nature transforms into a scene of a fantastic spectacle, where the earth itself becomes a living and powerful source of primal strength. However, despite the allure of this spectacle, it is very important to remember safety precautions. It is essential to strictly follow safety rules and not to get too close to dangerous areas of the volcano, as even the most beautiful and spectacular shot can turn into a tragedy. The unpredictable nature of the volcano harbors risks that can lead not only to the loss of valuable photographs, but also to serious burns or other injuries if one enters the active lava zone. Therefore, for those truly prepared to face nature's challenge, climbing Mount Erta Ale becomes not only an extreme adventure, but also a source of intense emotions, adrenaline, and inspiration. In such conditions, every person feels like part of a mighty force of nature, and the captured images fill the heart with pride and a desire to share this unique experience with friends and loved ones. These journeys become a real test of resilience and willpower, as each step brings new discoveries and challenges that require courage and patience. Turning to another important aspect of this remarkable region, it is worth mentioning the country where rich traditions harmoniously blend with modern technologies. Ethiopia is a place where ancient customs continue to live and develop in close connection with new achievements. Here, houses are still built from natural materials, clay and wood, as if returning to a distant past, reminiscent of fairy tales and legends. In every corner of the country, one can find homes constructed using traditional methods, ignoring modern glass facades and concrete high-rises that are so typical of Western cities. The local inhabitants prefer time-tested techniques passed down through generations. Such buildings are proven by history and are considered not only practical, but also symbols of cultural identity. Imagine artisans dressed in traditional clothing, decorated with bright patterns, skillfully assembling wooden beams, mixing clay, and creating unique architectural masterpieces. These houses are not just shelters from rain or sun, but true works of art reflecting the richness and depth of folk traditions. In the Tigray region, for example, you can see dwellings that look as if they have been transported from a distant past. Round shapes, conical roofs adorned with vibrant patterns that delight the eye and carry a special meaning, symbols of faith, protection, or cultural customs. These structures possess excellent thermal insulation properties, which is especially important in the hot climate. Thanks to their design features, such homes help keep the interior cool, making life comfortable even on the hottest days when the sun's rays scorch the earth and outdoor living becomes almost impossible. At the same time, these ancient methods have their weaknesses. For example, heavy rainstorms can pose a serious threat to the preservation of such buildings, as clay and wood are materials that require careful maintenance and protection. Despite this, travelers who find themselves in this region will undoubtedly be captivated by these unique structures, as they are like living testimonies of a rich cultural heritage, existing with their own distinctive life. Each such building tells its own story, passed down from generation to generation, and it seems to embody the spirit and wisdom of many past eras. The next astonishing region is Danakil, which many call the true hell on earth due to its extreme conditions. This part of Ethiopia represents one of the hottest and most inhospitable areas on the planet. Here, air temperatures reach such record levels that even cacti, usually considered drought-resistant, appear to surrender before the harshness. Even in the face of the severity and unpredictability of the climate, the local inhabitants of this mysterious country have managed to find ways to adapt to the merciless environment around them. Their survival and labor continue despite everything, as this is where the lowest points on the Earth's surface are located, making this place truly unique and mesmerizing in its own way. These lowlands are vast salt flats that, from above, look like a shimmering white sheet spread across the endless land, as if nature itself decided to decorate this corner of the world. For those eager to touch the unexplored boundaries of nature and discover something special, Danakil is a place where one can feel the full power and beauty of this unique landscape. Here, everyone willing to immerse themselves in the atmosphere of pristine nature will find unforgettable experiences that may stay in their memory forever. Ethiopia is not just a country marked on the map, but rather a sacred land for many seekers of spiritual paths and lovers of unusual journeys, for those who call themselves Rastafarians. In their worldview, this country holds a special place, as it is perceived as the center of their spiritual quest and philosophical reflections. Among mountain peaks and ancient traditions, the cult of Haile Selassie is actively developing, an emperor who has become a symbol of the struggle for freedom, unity, and national identity. For many people, he is not just a historical figure, but a true messiah who appeared in their destiny to lead the people to liberation, awaken hope in their hearts, and strengthen the spirit of resistance. In their eyes, this country is a sacred tomb where questions of self-awareness, independence, and dignity are sealed. For it is here that the deepest reflections on one's identity and place in the world are born. Among vibrant landscapes, rich cultural traditions, and ancient rituals, faith in a bright future, hope for change, and a better time that will surely come are born in the heart of this land. Music infused with philosophical reflections and the spirit of freedom becomes not just a style or hobby, but a way of life filled with profound meanings, ideals, and a striving for harmony. In the remote corners of this country, hidden from the eyes of outsiders, tribes continue to live that have preserved their ancient customs and traditions as if in a temporary time capsule. Time seems to have stopped there, allowing a glimpse into the past and revealing how our ancestors lived in distant eras when humans first began to tame fire and explore the surrounding world. Imagine the Hamer and Mercy tribes residing in the Omo Valley, secluded from the hustle and bustle of modern life and maintaining their unique culture. These peoples, as if frozen in a time capsule, continue to live as if the era when humans first saw a spark of fire had never disappeared. Their way of life is organized around simple yet highly meaningful things: handmade huts from branches and natural materials, hunting with spears and bow arrows, and complete disregard for modern technologies such as smartphones and other gadgets. Although this world may seem alien and exotic to the modern person, it is filled with unique traditions and culture that evoke both admiration and some bewilderment. The Hamer tribe has strict rituals that serve as tests of strength, courage, and resilience for each participant. For example, if a young man is unable to kill a bull, a symbol of maturity and bravery, he is not recognized within the tribe. In their view, such trials are an integral part of growing up, confirming readiness to become a full-fledged member of the community. The Mercy tribes are famous for their unusual lip plates, which they insert into their lips, transforming them into symbols of status, beauty, and spiritual maturity. To an outsider, these adornments may seem exotic or even shocking, but for the locals, they are an essential part of their cultural heritage. This vividly highlights how deeply rooted the traditions in this region are, markedly different from the familiar way of life we are accustomed to. They permeate everything, from everyday customs to special rituals passed down through generations, preserving their uniqueness and individuality. Ethiopia's architecture also captivates with its unusualness and scale. Particularly impressive are the rock-hewn churches known as Lalibela, which are not merely architectural monuments, but true masterpieces of human craftsmanship. These structures demonstrate not only human creativity, but also the desire for eternity, for leaving behind something meaningful and timeless. They transcend ordinary buildings, serving as witnesses to spiritual and cultural values laid down in ancient times. Local traditions and rituals seem designed to surprise and inspire, evoking genuine admiration with their zoomorphic symbolism and whimsical aesthetics. Their unusual rituals and ceremonies seem to transform into theatrical performances filled with vivid imagery and unexpected scenes. which not only astonish but also make one ponder the boundaries of conventional perception of reality. These expressions of culture often appear strange or even fantastical to us, raising doubts about our usual notions of normality and logic. However, it is precisely their uniqueness that holds a special allure, inspiring admiration for their distinctiveness. Despite numerous hardships, whether natural challenges, social changes, or cultural upheavals, these peoples continue to preserve and pass down their traditions, customs, and knowledge to future generations. This is where their strength and resilience lie, for it is thanks to these foundations that they maintain their identity and uniqueness. By transmitting their knowledge and customs orally from generation to generation, they create a living link to the past, helping them preserve their sense of self in an ever-changing world. So if you have the opportunity to visit these incredible places and learn more about the cultures and traditions of these peoples, consider which of these exotic details made the strongest impression on you and touched your soul.